This is a tutorial for Friday's module, which will be 01.08, supporting evidence. And there's a couple of things I want to go over as far as the module. So when they get here, a lot of the things is to build background knowledge. That way when they get to the quiz and when they get to the activities page, they know a little bit of what is being assessed. And one of the things that I want to kind of go over is the structure of a body paragraph. When we write an essay, obviously the introduction goes first. This is where we write a hook to engage the reader, and then we write and present our thesis, which thesis is just a fancy word for main idea. After that comes our body paragraphs. So if you think of an essay as a house, the body paragraphs are kind of like the pillars that hold everything together. And when you do the module, it's going to break down the structure of a body paragraph to a topic, examples, details, or facts, and an explanation. At Cactus, we tend to use claim, evidence, and reasoning. So these terms are sometimes interchangeable, but we're talking about the same thing. Can you introduce a topic? Can you back it up by giving examples, details, or facts? And can you explain why you chose those details to back up your topic? And so when we say claim, evidence, reasoning, we're talking about the same thing. And the other part of Friday's assignment is you might get a question like this on the quiz. Write a detailed 5-sentence paragraph using one of the ideas below as your central idea. Add examples, details, or facts to support the central idea to prove your point. So we have 3 options. Roller coasters are the most exciting rides at any museum park. Playing video games is a good way to spend your free time. High school classes give too much work. Given what I know about my students, I suspect these 2 are going to be my most popular choices. So I'm going to model for you this last one. And I've kind of did my homework to shorten this tutorial, but one of the wonderful things about the internet is we can use Google to back up whatever it is that we are trying to research. And as I researched the topic, I found this website. Now, it's very important that when we use websites as research material, that we are critical as to what we choose and what we read, because there's a whole lot of everything in the internet. Please do not use Wikipedia, because Wikipedia can be changed. It's reliable to a certain point, but anyone can go in there and change things. So I always tell kids Wikipedia is a good starting point, but it should never be something that you use as a source. And so this one, I did a little bit of research. This is an opinion piece. Typically, I would say no on opinion pieces, but I researched the author and I researched the article, and she presents both sides of the argument. So she says the arguments why homework is good and the arguments why homework is bad. And because it's balanced, I went ahead and I said it's a good article to use as your evidence. And so I picked a few paragraphs that I'm going to use, and now I can go to my essay. And the way that I structured it is claim, evidence, reasoning, or topic, facts and information, and then explanation. One of the things that I learned when I was a newspaper reporter, and that's my humble brag, for parents listening to this tutorial on Friday, I had students write when is a time that you use humble brag and why did you do it? And here's the why behind it. When I was a journalist, my editor always told me, put the why you are writing up top. That way, when we go off topic, when we go on tangents, kind of like the one I'm on right now, we can always go back and say, oh, this is what I was writing. This is my North Star. And having this up here allows me to refocus if I need to. And so again, I am writing about, so this is a good STEM sentence. I am writing about high school classes give too much homework. Now, this is a statement. Students can either agree or disagree with the statement, but the point is, whatever position you're on, to back up that position with evidence and reasoning. And I'm going to say it depends. I'm going to argue that homework is neither good nor bad, but it depends on how you use homework. And so here is my claim. When it comes to the argument of whether or not high schools give too much homework, one can argue that there is no clear answer. Notice how I didn't use I because it's an academic paper. We do not use personal pronouns on academic papers. And so one of the ways that I got rid of that is you can say, some people say, some may argue, one can argue, one can speculate, and that gets rid of the personal pronoun. And so this is my claim. When it comes to the argument of whether or not high schools give too much homework, one can argue that there is no clear answer. In fact, now transition words and transitional phrases are really good because it gets rid of the repetitive nature of the essay. We're not using the same words, we're not using the. Transitional phrases helps us avoid repetition and it helps the essay flow smoothly. So again, let's start from the top. When it comes to the argument of whether or not high schools give too much homework, one can argue that there is no clear answer. In fact, an article published in 2018 by US News says that, quote, homework should not be used to extend class time to cover more material, but instead we can say, but instead, or while at the same time, acknowledging that homework is necessary when it's used as a supplemental tool to enrich learning. So there's two things I want you to notice here. I used a direct quote from the article, and I still gave credit to the source. According to an article published in 2018 by US News, and this is a direct quote. If I don't put direct quotes on this part, then it's plagiarism. And plagiarism obviously will get you in a whole lot of trouble. But then the second part of this, so here is my direct quote. But then the second part of this is also from the article, but I paraphrase what the author said. Why? I don't want to add this whole block of quotes, and I want to make my article sound academic and professional. But notice that in my direct quote, which means I copied word for word, I'm still giving credit. And here in my paraphrase, while at the same time acknowledging that homework is necessary when it is used to supplement to enrich learning, I'm still giving credit to the author, and you'll see what I mean. And so I skipped a step here. I wanted to show you quote and paraphrase, but for purposes of the tutorial, I just want to give you the basics. And so here, I really like this part of what the author had to say, and I think this is why I skipped the paraphrase and direct quote portion tutorial, because I think this is more important. If you notice, you can tell I copied and pasted from the original article. How can you tell? I still have my links here, and the font and font size are clearly not the same as the rest of my document. This is a dead giveaway that a student plagiarized. Students will oftentimes paste, and I'll show you what I mean in a second, and they'll leave it, and that's usually a very strong telling sign that they're copying and pasting things from other places without giving credit. I like this section here because I think it's a good point. And so I'm going to use it and see it's coming up different than the rest. So I'm going to click here on my down arrow and I'm going to keep text only. But because I'm copying it word for word, I need to add my quote. And so right here, this is where the details make all the difference. I'm going to use the author's name. I'm going to copy the name, and I'm going to say the author, and then I'm going to drop her name in there. Again, I'm going to click the down arrow once I paste it, and I'm going to tell the text to format with the rest of my paper. Said or says, and then the rest is going to be in direct quotes, right? So I've shown you paraphrase, which is in green, and I've shown you direct quotations, which is right here and up here in yellow. So now I have my claim. I have my claim here. There's no clear answer when it comes to homework. I have my evidence, which is all of this. And now I need to tell you why this is important. So this part right here is my reasoning. And is it a perfect paragraph? No. I still need to figure out a way to massage transitions so that it doesn't sound too choppy. I still need to clean up the typos and clean up the grammar, but the structure and the formula is there. So now all I have to do is complete the writing process by editing and revising, which is what I'm trying to do right now by getting rid of the highlighted portion. Then I can follow MLA by doing Times New Roman, and then 12-point font and double space. Okay, you're not gonna do this on the quiz, but just for habits and creating good academic habits, I'm doing this anyway just to reinforce what we've been learning. Again, if you read this out loud, you're gonna catch transitional flaws, you're gonna catch typos, but the structure, again, it's claim, evidence, and reasoning, which is what we are looking for when we answer this question. What I don't want to see is a lot of the times, adults, teachers, students, and just everybody, we get a question like this and we want to answer off the top of our heads. Well, I think roller coasters are fun because they provide a lot of entertainment for families, and it's a good thing to do. And so if you notice, if you do that, you start to sound repetitive and you're not really providing any details. But if we do our homework, if we do research, if we find points of views, and if we find statistics, then our paper carries meaning. Then our body paragraph carries meaning. And so when you work on this question tomorrow, whatever topic you choose, just remember, make your claim, give me evidence supporting your claim, and then give me your reasons. Because I may agree with your claim, I may not agree with your claim, but depending on how well you write your evidence and you state your reason, you might persuade me to either change my mind, or you might persuade me that, hey, you know what, I believe in this point strongly, more so than I did before. And that's what we're trying to assess here. I hope that this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you.